Hello and welcome to the first episode of Peter's podcast. What's today's topic, Blake?
Fantasy and the prospects that we think you should draft. So, to start off, we have Cordero Patterson. And what do you think about him, Brian?
I think Cordero Patterson won't live up to the hype that he had last year. I think last year was a fluke season for him. By any means will he's not going to be bad, but I don't think he's going to be as good as he was last year. I think he'll be one of those average, backup running backs or so, second running back or your flex. That's where I have him in all of my fantasy drafts and everything. I always put Cordero Patterson as a flex. I just think he's one of the best people. I think he's the best person for that position. So.
Yeah, I agree. Also, Baker Mayfield. For Baker, I think he might or might not do well because on the Browns, he wasn't a top 10 quarterback, but he was average. So on the Panthers, I think with DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, he might have some better, a better season there.
Yeah, I agree. I think Baker Mayfield will be better this season because he's got a lot more weapons. They've got DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Christian McCaffrey. I think that Baker Mayfield will be one of the better fantasy football quarterbacks this year because having DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey, two big playmakers to throw to, I think that definitely helps.
But like I said, I don't think he's like a top 10 QB up with Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, and Josh Allen. I think he's just an average quarterback that is good. Well, decent. Again, also, Patrick Mahomes, like I said, I don't know about him because his best receiver, Tyreek Hill, just moved to the Dolphins with Tagovailoa, but Patrick Mahomes still has a bunch of weapons. He just got Juju Smith-Schuster and Travis Kelce, so I think that Patrick Mahomes will still do well with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I really don't think it matters who you surround Patrick Mahomes with. He's still going to be an above-average quarterback. He's still got Travis Kelce, Mecole Hardman, like you said, Juju Smith-Schuster, and they drafted Sky Moore, one of my favorite receivers going into the draft. So I think he'll still do good.
Yeah. And also about, the rookies in the draft, I think, to be honest, Kenny Pickett is going to be pretty good with the Steelers. Even though he does have a really tough division, I think he's still going to be pretty decent as a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, Kenny Pickett, the only problem that I would run into, I think he's surrounded by some really tough teams. The Bengals, they made it to the Super Bowl. They're going to be a really good team next year. The Ravens have a really good secondary, and with the Browns and Denzel Ward and Myles Garrett, he's gonna be good, but he's got to go up against some really tough defenses, I think.
And also another one to go with Baker Mayfield is Matt Corral. Like we said about Baker earlier, he's just an average quarterback. He might be pretty good with the Panthers or not. But also, Brian, do you think Matt Corral will be decent or at least get some playing time this year?
I don't think, unless Baker Mayfield gets injured, I really don't see Matt Corral starting the season. I think he can learn a lot from Baker Mayfield, but I don't think that he would be a starting quarterback, like I said, unless Baker Mayfield gets injured. If he does, then maybe him or Sam Darnold would come in, but I'm pretty sure Baker's going to hold that number one spot for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I totally agree. But with the Titans, with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, we have Malik Willis trying to get the starting job. I think Ryan Tannehill will still be the starter for now. Later, if he isn't that good, because with A.J. Brown out, they still have Robert Woods to throw to. that they just added. But I do think Malik Willis might get some playing time this year.
Yeah, it depends. It really depends on their record, because if they are doing really good at the rest of the season, I think they're gonna keep Tannehill in, because Tannehill's one of those good veteran quarterbacks that I think a rookie like Malik could learn a lot from. But then also, if they're not doing too well, like throughout the season, and Tannehill's just not doing it with the new receivers and anything, I think they might switch it up with Malik Willis, because he brings another style to football to Tennessee that I don't think Ryan Tannehill has, like the scrambling and the athleticism.
Yep. Also, Sam Howell in the NFC East with Carson Wentz as starting quarterback. If he isn't the best, I think Sam Howell will come in over Taylor Heineke or Kyle Allen.
Yeah, either Carson Wentz could have a really good bounce back season.
Mm-hmm.
He could be really good, or he could absolutely bomb and be terrible. Because he had one of the best situations in teams with the Colts, and he came there and lost to the Jaguars to miss the playoffs. So I think that he could either be really good with the Commanders as the new team, or he could be terrible, and they might start Sam Howell if Carson Wentz is not the guy this season.
Also, about, if Carson Wentz is bad this season, the Commanders will probably cut him, and I don't know if he'll get picked up by any other team. But, yeah, so. Also, about Desmond Ridder, what do you think about him and what the Falcons?
Desmond Ridder and the Falcons? I think he'll start, because who's their other quarterback? I don't know. I think it's Desmond Ridder, so I think he's going to get a lot of playing time. I think they've surrounded him with really good weapons like Cordell Patterson. He's a big playmaker. Kyle Pitts going to do good, and Drake London, I think he might do good this season. But, yeah, I think Desmond Ridder, you could see some potential in him with all of the talents and playmakers that he's surrounded by.
But like we said with Cordell Patterson earlier, he might be running back now that Mike Davis has left the team to head over to Baltimore. I think Cordell Patterson will become their starting running back for the Falcons.
Yeah, so he might see a little bit more playing time than normal. But one more topic, I think, like you were saying with Carson Wentz, if he doesn't do good, I think there's a few quarterbacks that fall under that category. I think Daniel Jones, Carson Wentz, and Sam Darnold, this is their last opportunity for those three guys. I think if Daniel Jones doesn't, if the Giants don't see anything in him this season, because they've surrounded him with Kenny Golladay and Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley's healthy, so if he doesn't really produce what they're hoping, then I think then they might draft another guy or just pick up another guy. Then they might draft another guy or just pick up another guy. Sam Darnold, I think this is probably his last year, because they got Baker and they just drafted, who was it?
Baker.
Matt Corral. They just drafted Matt Corral. So, and also with Washington, I think they might, if Carson Wentz isn't that good, they might just move on to Sam Howell, or they might find another guy just for another 1 year contract to fill that gap for the next season, and then draft. If they don't see anything in Sam Howell, they might draft another guy in the later years.
Mm-hmm. And also, now we're hopping back to the people that got traded. Do you think Davante Adams will do better in his really harder division than the Packers division, up to the Raiders, with the Chargers just having Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes on the Chiefs, and Russell Wilson on the Broncos? Do you think Davante Adams will do better or worse with the Raiders?
I think he might do better, but fantasy-wise, I don't think he's gonna do as good if you're going off fantasy points, because they already have people like Hunter Renfrow, he's supposed to do good. They have Josh Jacobs, so they have a better running back. They have a good running back, just like in Green Bay when they had Aaron Jones, and then they also have Darren Waller, which he's one of my favorite tight ends. So, yeah, I think he's still going to be one of the best receivers in the league, but maybe not. I do like that the Raiders' offense, they try to take shots downfield, which I think Davante Adams is perfect for. So I think, yeah, he'll do pretty good.
I agree with that. And also, about same division, about Russell Wilson moving from Seattle to Denver. I think for Seattle, his last year there, they didn't have the best season. I know he got hurt like a little bit during the season, but they went like what, 7-10? Yeah. But I think he's gonna do better, or I think he's gonna do better on the Broncos with like Jerry Jeudy still there. They have Sutton, that other receiver, and yeah, I think he might do better on the Broncos.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's going into a good Broncos season. I think you're going to see I hope you're going to see a lot of production from Jerry Jeudy, and I think this is going to be a big year for Courtland Sutton because they haven't really had the best quarterbacks. But yeah, I think if Russell Wilson's going to do good with the new team and the new offense.
But it's still going to be hard for him because back-to-back tough divisions he's been on the teams for, because last year he had the Rams, the 49ers, and the Cardinals, all playoff contenders, beside the Seahawks making it to the playoffs. But now he's moving up to, like, some people say easier, some people say a harder division, with the Raiders, Patrick Mahomes on the Chiefs, and the Chargers. But yeah, I think he's going to do pretty decent. Okay, now we're switching back to like about Deshaun Watson. What do you think he will do on the Browns with his new suspension?
He is suspended for 6 games, so I think Jacoby Brissett's going to play, or Josh Rosen, which they signed. I don't know why, but they signed him just in case Jacoby Brissett doesn't do good. But I do think he might do good for the first 6 games. But with Deshaun Watson, he was already doing good with the Texans, and the Texans didn't have. He was already doing good with the Texans, and the Texans didn't have the best team when he was there. I think their number 1 receiver is Brandon Cooks, and I think Amari Cooper is better than Brandon Cooks. So he's gonna have Amari Cooper and some other, like Nick Chubb. He's gonna have a good rushing game with Nick Chubb, and good offensive line, good defense to back it up. So I think he could do pretty good after the suspension.
I think all the players we talked about today were either going to be better or worse, like Cordero Patterson maybe being worse, and Davante Adams maybe taking it a step higher. But I think all the players we talked about have good athleticism, and I think to wrap it up, we'll see you guys in the next episode of Peter's podcast. See ya.
Bye.